Hello, hello. I think I'm live. There we go. I know I'm live now. My computer is telling me it's gonna have a challenge here, so hopefully I can see you, or you can see me. If you can, as you come on, say hello and let me know you're here. Yeah, okay, awesome. You know, sometimes the internet just goes funny just as you're like starting to actually do something. I've noticed that in my life, so I am just so grateful to be here. So for those of you who this is the first time catching me teaching, welcome. And for those of you who have spent a lot of time hanging out with me, like Pat, hello Tina, then hold on, I am trying to like get technical shifting or something. I don't know. I think my computer is unhappy with me right now. So hopefully this goes well and then the speed is applicable, because I've been really excited to be here. I've been thinking about this all week. I was so bummed I couldn't come live on Thursday, and I want to tell you why. Because it matters. So here's the thing. I think everything in life is actually totally a yes. And so on Thursday, I wanted to come live and I wanted to have this class. And my afternoon went totally sideways. There was drama with my eldest kid. There was just a whole bunch of stuff going on. And in truth, I could not have shown up and been like fully present as me. And I have made a dedication in my life to really honor like where I actually am and to take everything that comes as the opportunity for growth. And so, hello Carla. That's my motto. That's like my philosophy. That is my credo. And so in truth on Thursday, I needed to tend to how I actually felt, what was actually happening, and to do that in a way that didn't leave me stuck in the story. And this is so timely with what we're doing here today, because we're going to talk about autoimmune disease. Yeah, Carla, thank you. And there's a huge component. In fact, I think the biggest thing with autoimmune disease is a deep, continuous denial of self. And we're going to talk much more in depth. But on Thursday, what I did is that I gave myself the space. I gave myself to have the space, to have the full experience, to actually feel what I was feeling, to cry, to lay down and do nothing, to feel all of it, and to not have to be in a space of trying to pretend that I was in a state that I wasn't in. And I was like, oh my God, of course. It's the day of this pop-up class that I've been wanting to teach, because the other morning, like the whole idea that like this was a necessary conversation came to me and I was so excited. And hello, Nadine. And the thing is that it was like, yes, of course. Not of course. So you may hear that and think, oh, such a bummer. It's like, no, of course, because when we dedicate ourselves, like when we say like, oh, I'm so dedicated to understanding and walking in a particular way, the truth is that we will get the chance to demonstrate it. That's the way the universe works. Hello, Perry. And it is a glorious thing to say, yes, you're right. I am here for the experience. I am totally going to dedicate myself to this experience. And if that means that I have to change something, and the thing is right, there's always going to be someone that could be disappointed by your change. It's okay. There's always going to be someone that's like, oh, I'm so bummed. It's okay. Hello, Emily. That's the entirety of the purpose, is that it's okay because it's all working forward. And it's a really important transition point because we're here to talk about autoimmune disease. And what I see in the world has me so frustrated with autoimmune disease. Hello, Julie. Because the conversation that's happening in the world around autoimmune disease is kind of like one or two things. I can't tell you the number. The hundreds of women who've come to me saying, well, my doctor tested my antibody levels and they were high and they said, just like whatever, take this thing and that's the end of it. Take this pill, take some thyroid hormone. Or I have a drug to suppress that. JK, it could be my internet, honestly, because I know I keep getting these little messages. So if I'm choppy to other people, let me know, because I could turn this off and come back on my phone. So I want y'all to be able to actually be in the space with me. And I knew this could be a problem with my computer, but I wanted to do it on my computer so I could sit at my desk because I have all my cute notes in front of me. So the world says, it's nothing, or the doctors go, we don't really know why that happens. So because we don't know, we'll actually not really do anything about it, which has always kind of made me laugh. It's kind of a sarcastic laugh, but for anyone to say like, I don't really know why you're so sick, but because we don't know, we're not going to do anything about it. Like, okay. So really it's your failure to not understand is leaving you in a position where you're not going to help me, but you're going to tell me that, it's just because my body's crazy and we don't understand crazy bodies, which of course as women, I think we get enough of, right? Well, you're a crazy female. So, like it's kind of like the thing, right? You're a crazy female. So your body does crazy things. And then there's another camp that says, oh my God, autoimmune disease is happening at record rates because the world is toxic, the food supply is toxic, everyone's reactive to everything, everyone has all these food sensitivities and allergies and all this stuff, and oh my God, we need to like rein it in now. And there's a method, there's like a tone of panic there. It's always bothered the hell out of me. Because again, I just have not found that that's the case. Do you know how many times women come into my world? They've been told to avoid like every food under the sun. And as their being starts to shift, they're like, why can I eat wheat now? Why can I eat dairy now? They told me I'd never be able to eat it. It would cause a huge flare. My body would never hold it together. Why can I eat these things now? And my antibody numbers have gone down. And I have more energy. And I don't hurt as much. Because you guys, it's actually not the cause. I know the world says that that's the cause. I know that the world says that like we're experiencing an onslaught of autoimmune disease because now, unfortunately, you guys, I think probably 90% of the people that come to me or reach out to me are talking about having autoimmune disease. Or they'll say, well, I have autoimmune type syndromes, even though I don't necessarily have a diagnosis. And it's not actually the food. Are there times in the treatment protocol where like you actually do limit certain things? Yeah. Well, maybe while you're trying to restore a sense of ease at the cell. But what you'll find is that as cell ease comes in, the body has this big capacity, which means it wasn't the food. It was the body's capacity. It was the capacity. And the thing is like, if we look at what creates capacity in our body, capacity is generated by our ability to have the experience. And this is what's not being addressed. We are walking around trying to avoid the experience of our human self to the nth degree. And most of the time, we don't even realize it. Most of the time, hello, Rhonda. most of the time we don't realize the degree to which we're trying to avoid our human experience, and it's not a fault thing. So I want to, like, if I could put a big headline over everything that I say, is that there is no judgment. There is no fault. These are things that the world at large is not focusing on. And I honestly believe there's good reason, you guys. Because people who live from this place of fear, I'm afraid of the food, I'm afraid of the water, I'm afraid of my body, I'm afraid of infections, I'm afraid of illness, I'm afraid of doctors, I'm afraid of the world. People who live afraid of the world don't ever access their true power. They don't start making decisions to say, no, actually, I'm not doing that live stream on Thursday because I needed to tend to myself. And instead, I'm going to tend to myself so I can be a walking demonstration of a human that is truly embodied. But that's not how we're told to live. I was just talking to my parents yesterday, and I was telling them, you know, I went to a lot of school, you guys. I was really good at school, too. Like, I'm really good at school, if you want to know the truth. But I literally spent 10 years total in college. Like 10 years. I got an undergrad degree and I got 2 grad school degrees at the same time. I'm really good at school. I am really good at school because I was really good at ignoring how I felt and actually focusing on trying to achieve and actually trying to be perceived as being in line, in order, and doing a good job. That's the societal model of success. I was really good at it. In fact, when I left school, I felt a bit disoriented, if you want to know the truth. Because now suddenly, what was the model? And I continued to walk that out for a really long time. Just trying to be perceived and accepted for achieving. And the whole time, what I wanted, what I felt, what was of matter to me, I honestly would defer to what was needed of me. I'll tell you a story. This bothers me so much to this day. Okay. It was actually New Year's Eve. It was the New Year's Eve. A friend of mine had really put her back out. And she had asked me if I'd meet her at my office at the time. Obviously, my office wasn't open. To give her some acupuncture. She could barely walk. Like, her husband was literally almost carrying her. It's so funny. I didn't know I was going to tell this story. So, just before I leave, all the kids are downstairs playing in the basement. My basement, like a lot of basements, has those metal, poles that are part of the structural foundation of the house. So they're downstairs playing and you hear a thud, this metallic thud thunk. We're like, what the hell just happened? And we go downstairs, and my youngest, who was only like maybe 3 at the time, they'd been playing like a tag game and he'd run headfirst into the pool. And his eyes were already glassy. He was already like out of it. We bring him upstairs. And it's like he kind of seems okay, kind of doesn't seem okay, kind of seems okay. He says he's okay. And I was like, well, I made this commitment. I need to go help this person. My husband's like, okay. So I go to help this friend with her back. And my office at the time had like back treatment rooms, and my phone was at the front. And I'm back there treating her, and unbeknownst to me, my husband's calling in a panic because the kid has started to roll his eyes into the back of his head and vomit. He obviously has a concussion. And it's such an embarrassing story, but the reality is like I was so focused on doing like the perceived good job and not wanting to like disrupt, because this other person could barely walk and I didn't want to disrupt that. So by the time I actually noticed that my phone was ringing, like my husband was absolutely in panic, and I'm racing home, and the kids at the ER, and funny enough, we ended up giving him a homeopathic secretly in the ER, and he's in an ambulance being taken to the next hospital, and he becomes totally fine. And we get to the next hospital, and they're like, I don't know why you brought this kid here. He's totally fine. I'm like, well, if you'd seen him 40 minutes ago, you'd understand, but homeopathy works. So see ya, and we left. But it's a great demonstration of how we walk this path, and we're so consumed with wanting to actually present and perform that we deny ourselves, and we deny like what we need or what like is needed really in the moment in order to keep showing up. And there's this thing that happens, and this is a big part of autoimmune disease actually, is that we're walking around doing for others and focusing on others ahead of what would actually be the thing that lights us up, the thing that feeds us, the thing that makes us really feel like here and present and whole and at ease and alive. And it all goes back to these deep senses of the places where we disconnect. I'm not worthy. I really don't have a clue who I am. I feel really obligated to perform, show up, be the good girl, be the good wife, be the good doctor, be the good whatever it is. And our lack of a sense of safety. The truth is that most of us feel completely bottomed out when it comes to safety. And that's a deep disconnect that roots into our lower energy centers in the body, and a lack of a sense of freedom. Most of us walk around feeling like ultimately we don't have much of a choice. And we walk through life, and these senses are stories. They're stories. They're stories of the world. If you look around the world, it doesn't take much to see evidence of a sense of, I'm not worthy, I don't know who I am, I don't feel safe, I don't feel free. And so the way the world works is that there's stories, there's paradigms, and we walk through life adopting the paradigms that are around us. So it starts when we're little. We walk through our young childhood adopting the paradigms of those that are like in our closest proximity, family, people at school. We walk around taking on those as truth. So this is where a lot of us are like, oh, if I do good, then I'll be appreciated. Or I'll try to do good so that I will be loved. Because if I'm not loved, I'm not worthy. Or I'm only safe when. Or success is scary because. There's all these things we start to take on, and we actually adopt them. Now these become our rhythm, and we become adults, and we defer to that programming, or I call them encodings. We defer to these encodings. And in our biology, it means this. Your biology at its root, you have this beautiful DNA structure. Your DNA is amazing. It is actually language. Linguistically, the base pairs operate like language. Linguists have looked at this and said this is really wild because it functions like a language if you line up the base pairs and you look at how they organize. It's language. So we are inherently language. What directs us is language. Every action in your body produces sound and light emissions. When your cells divide, there's bursts of sound and light. Thanks, Kim. When our cells do anything, when you produce hormones, when your cells respond to signals, there's actually bursts of sound and light. Like, you're more magical than you've ever known. Just FYI. Like, you are this walking collage of incredible universal sound, light, and language, walking through the world with the capacity to have any experience you desire. But along the way, you start thinking, no, I'm just a weak human that everything is hard for, and I don't quite know who I am. So I'm looking to other people to try to demonstrate that for me. And a lot of times, to add to that, we walk through the world going, who do you want me to be? I'll be who you want me to be. Just tell me. Which takes us even further from who we are. Because we're like, just tell me who you want me to be. I'll be who you want. And then we're even more frustrated. And as we do this walkout of these encodings, and then the ones that we're picking up as we go, as we're like, oh, you know, like the people who act this way always seem to have this, so I'm going to act that way. And when I'm angry, people don't like me, so I'm never going to be angry ever again. And when I speak what I want, people tell me no, and I'm too much, and it's too much, and so I'm never going to speak what I want ever again. And we start to adopt this model of life that's like us with a gag on. And this all collects like sludge, let's just say, at your base expression, your DNA. Guess what your DNA is actually coded for? Your brilliance, you being loved, perpetual support, a sense of being really free, abundance, health. It's what you're encoded for. Make no mistake about it, because this is what's getting lost. The world is like, oh, the human existence is just tragedy after tragedy, trial after trial. Ugh. You're encoded for a sense of ease. You're encoded for health. This is why you need not do anything to be worthy. This is why you need not do anything to be deserving. You were spoken into existence this way. The encodings, they're the thing that says something different. The encodings go, yeah, but not for you. Only if you break your back working hard. Only if you deny yourself everything. Only if you act like this. Only if you're this kind of person. Only if you look this way. And so we walk through and we think that that encoding is real because that's how we experience it. We think, well, I guess that's who I am. Nope. No. That may be some of the experiences of your ancestors. That may be what you experienced when you were younger. That may be what your parents believe about themselves. And it appears and feels very real. And the experience is real. This is part of that whole human experience. This is what I'm actually feeling. And walking around trying to deny it doesn't work. That's part of the sort of like fake it till you make it. It's like, nah. If I walk around denying it, I just add to it. Because I just walk around telling myself, and I always say, it's like self-gaslighting. No, you don't feel that way. I don't like it when someone else tells me that I don't have a feeling. I certainly don't think it's the best idea to have that as my operating principle for myself. The reality is we do feel that way. What happens though is that we feel that way and we think it's an identity. And no one in the world is walking around going, yes, you feel that way. This is so delicious. Let's walk that out. Let's release it. Let's have the full experience. Let's unwind it. And honor the fuck out of the experience. But let's not live there. And there's the difference. Because like Thursday, when everything went haywire in my life, and I was truly rocked. And I could have also been like, you know, gone into the experience from the perspective of this is being done to me. But I went into the experience like, this is something I need to feel and be with. And I'm going to be okay. But I'm going all the way in. And there's a dramatic difference to where those two paths lead. And we have a world where a lot of people are like, I do feel my feelings. And then they stay stuck there because, again, no one's ever, if I postulate that kindergarten through third grade should actually just be this experience of feeling ourselves as humans. We've got plenty of time to learn how to read and do math. If we had that as our credo in the world, oh my God. But instead, because it's not the credo of the world, we actually go into the moods, and now we live in a world that we walk around and these things become who we are. It's like, instead of having, I'm experiencing a really depressed state today, people walk around going, I'm a depressed person. There's a vast difference. One of those is, hell yes, I feel depressed today. And the other one is, this is my identity. One of those leads us to an unlimited capacity for change. The other one tends to have us swirl in the reference points for why it's true for the rest of our life. And this does something in our body. Something so huge. Because we start, what we don't realize is that we think we're just having a mental thing. We think, it's just a mood. But when we start to end up there perpetually, our biology is shifting as we're there. And there's chaos. There's this disruption that happens. And the thing is that I describe this so often, like visually to me, because I'm a very visual person, well, in my head. There's a threshold, right? So when I keep having these things and I take them on as identities, I keep rising really close to biological threshold, because my emotions and my perception of experience and the way that my mind may be contributing as it narrates and then tells me the story of how this is because you know that happens. You get into an emotional state and your mind's like, you know, it really is true. You're a fucking failure and no one's ever really loved you and you've never really been safe and you kind of fuck up everything you touch. And suddenly the mind has added to it in such a way that the amplitude has gone up. And what's happening biologically is all of those responses have neuropeptides and there's hormones and there's this whole experience happening. And now our biology is shifting and our body's like, I don't know which way's up. I don't know which way's up. Where are we going? What are we doing? And it goes to try to send a signal and there's chaos in the middle. And that chaos builds. Most of us don't realize that, like, to get to the point where someone says, oh, you have an autoimmune disease, it took more than 10 years to get there, you guys. More than 10 years. In that 10 years, it was the building chaos as we moved up, and there was less and less threshold, less and less room for malleability, and then things suddenly go crazy and we get the shrug, I don't know, we don't know. But there is a knowing. This is the natural, like, downstream effect of this kind of chaos. This kind of walkout of definition. And mind you, this is where I'm becoming more and more a fan of, like, wow, could we just all, like, start to become really, really discerning about where we're getting our information and what kind of information we're willing to take in. Because the world has stories. The world has these stories. And I see it everywhere, and it's so big. It's like the story of your body's a mystery and it's going to pounce and attack you any day. The story of like everyone is depressed right now. Everyone's anxious right now. Everyone's experiencing lack. Everyone is in peril. And if we aren't discerning, we add to this chaos by taking on the stories, because to do so otherwise, we've been told, oh, now you're in denial. No, I'm not in fucking denial. I am not going to walk out a story just because someone told me it's the truth. Because truth is subjective. And we have the capacity to create and write the stories and the guidelines and the way that we're going to experience it. But to get to that point where we can hold that, we have to become comfortable with having the full human experience, which means when I'm depressed, I feel the depression. I feel it. I'm like, hell yes, I'm here for the whole thing. I'm going to walk into this room and I'm going to really feel it. I'm not going to turn on Netflix every time and go, I don't know. I'm not going to turn and start scrolling my phone every time. I might still do that sometimes because I'm human, and sometimes I'm like, I just can't deal right now. But we've been distracting, and quite honestly, we live in a world that hopes that you will distract yourself. I hate to say it, but you guys, there are billion-dollar industries built off of hoping, in fact, probably trillion-dollar industries, hoping that you will distract yourself instead of learning to feel and be fully in you no matter what the experience is. Trillions of dollars are spent hoping this. And it's not working. And the thing is that autoimmune disease is a culminative event of this model of human. Right, Jen? There's no money in healthy people. If you're walking around like, I got me, I absolutely know how to be vibrant and vital. I know what my body loves to eat. I know how she loves to move. I know how to feel my feelings. I know this inherently, like it is me. Well, you're not going to be buying Pfizer's newest whatever drug. You're not going to be like spending, gobs of money at doctors every month to get whatever. You're not going to be visiting all the specialists. You're going to be out fucking living your life. Like, you're going to be like creating pathways of experience and abundance and love and connection, and doing it however you want to do it, because you realize, wait a minute, I write the story, so here we go. Let's go have some fun. Yeah. And so you will be in charge of your life. But right now, the story being told is, oh boy, you're just not that capable. And that's a line of BS that has served its purpose, I suppose. But it's time for it to change. Because what I've watched in the last 2 decades plus in healing and in medicine is that we have more access to quote unquote information. I follow all the people, you guys. I follow them. Yeah, Rhonda, this is no longer my story. Hell yes. I see what's being said. And let me tell you, this paradigm of like, oh, everyone with this autoimmune disease, like they all have to drink the lemon water. You totally can't eat these foods. You totally can't do this. You totally can't do that. Like the long list of can'ts. It's more of this same constriction. Do you know what happens to a human that already doesn't feel very worthy, capable, loved, Like they don't fit in. And then they're told, oh, by the way, here's another list of things you can't do. You want to add to the bullshit inside your body? Go have someone tell you that your body's too messed up to basically live in the world. Because that's kind of what the story ends up being. I'm sorry, you got a flawed model. Your model doesn't work in the world. No! That's more of this, like, you don't fit here. Feel that, like, that sense, like that whole thing of you don't fit here. It doesn't have an expansive, like communicative energy. It has this, ooh, okay. It's a lie. It's a lie, you guys. Rhonda's right. It's a lie. But there's this whole thing, because the thing is, you guys, like, is it fun to walk into the room with yourself for real? In the beginning, no, not so much. As you walk it out, not so much. As you go further, you start to realize that walking into that room is your superpower. Like, it's really your superpower. This is where the sense of safety comes. I got me no matter what. I already know that. I know it. And not because I'm willing to block like everything I'm feeling and like charge forward like a bull, which is how I did life for a lot of life. I thought I had me. It just meant that I was really good at turning off any awarenesses along the way and going into push mode like a motherfucker. Like I could do it. That ultimately just pushed it all down. Was I highly effective? Yeah. Yeah. I'm a highly effective human. Did it also create a lot of places where I was just shut down inside and I was holding things? Yeah. And we can be highly effective humans and be here and honor what we're feeling and walk it out and be present and grow. We can be both. It's not an either or. That's another myth out there. Well, if you go down that road, you'll become a non-effective human. No. No. And what happens as we grow this relationship with ourselves, guess what? Your physiology changes. Now, when I work with people, do we work with food? Mm-hmm. Do we look at biological function and actually use remedies? Yeah. Yeah. We do those things because we're supporting this template of change and growth. We're supporting the template of ease. But we're not going, oh, well, that's all there is. We're going, yeah, that's supportive of this process of growth and evolution and release and coming home to my body that I am enacting here. And along the way, we use all the methods, because here's what happens. Like, your physiology gets stuck in the span of chaos. The cells and the tissues start responding. Everybody's in chaos. And if you just go like, well, that's it. I'm going to cut out wheat, dairy, soy, corn, egg, whatever, whatever else is on the list, right? And I'm going to do these pills. And not only do we stimulate that whole, like, I don't belong here, look, I don't even fit in the world, I can't eat anything, I'm not worthy. But then what happens is there's already chaos. So your little happy magnesium molecules come and they try to get to the cell and they find chaos and there's no path through. And people are like, but I'm taking my magnesium. And it's like, yes, but there's chaos in the tissues and that beautiful magnesium can't reach your beautiful cells. And that chaos is in the way. It's the thing. And it needs to be moved. It needs to be loved. And not moved like, get the bleep out of here. Not moved in like, well, it's time to detox you. Because that's that force again. That model of let's force things out of the way. We're just going to push it until it moves. And that's the societal model that we keep enacting that says if you stay busy and if you stay in motion and if you just keep pushing, things will move. Well, physically, you would never, honestly, like if there was like a personal trainer that was like, my plan for you to get strong is actually that you're going to live at the gym and we'll never let you stop moving. You're just going to push until you're strong. You'd be like, that's dumb. Okay, your plan sucks. And I'm not staying because that's a bad plan. That's not going to work for me. I like to sleep and do some other things besides push. But we've kind of been enacting that from a standpoint of like a model of life. The reality is that the more that we can compassionately start to just accept and learn how to like walk through and have that full experience and embrace the other aspects of our human self, like I like to play. Pleasure's my friend. I love to sometimes be frivolous. Sometimes I like to do nothing. And sometimes I like to work. And sometimes I like to be on task. Oh, Jody, I love it. And learning to flow and not force. That's where we create this space. And in that space, there is a developing sense of ease and communication in the body. Because remember, as we move and these things move with us, we actually dissolve these encodings. And what's your DNA built for? Your DNA is like, you're amazing, you're brilliant, you're healthy, you're strong. But to get back to that message, we're going to have to do some unwinding. This is the other place I will mention because it bothers the you-know-whats out of me. That in the world of kind of like manifestation, some people take that to mean, I just have to imagine myself healthy and that's it. No. Because the thing is that those encodings have a big message. And if they're broadcasting the other stuff, I'm not really worthy, I don't fit here, like whatever's there, then you can proclaim all you want that, that's it, I'm healthy. But if the encodings have a bigger charge than that, it's not going to shift. And I know some people are like, don't say that. That's like negative talk. It's not. It's whatever has the biggest charge. Are there people who actually have simply gone into a complete alignment with affirmation and things have changed? Hell yes, there are. Yes. And guess what? They didn't have the same lack of access to that part of their code. So there are people who, like, different aspects of their DNA language is more open than others, and it's not a fault thing. So this is again where we're like, oh, see, of course I'm a person, that part's all blocks. No, this is just your human experience, and that person might have some other huge challenge that you don't have. Like they're like, I've never had love, or my creativity is stunted, whatever. So this is where comparison is horrific, because you don't have the full story. And when we look and we see the outliers that seem to have done something really easily, you just need to understand that they had less encoding at a certain area than you do. They weren't carrying around as much stuff in one particular place. And so that one thing may have appeared easier to them. It's just as available to you. Just as available. It means nothing about your capacity to have it. It means nothing about your capacity to get there. It means nothing about your capacity to have everything and have the full experience. The thing is that you'll have to do more work in one space and learn how to unwind and learn how your body's patterns actually work and how that plays out in your physiology and what kind of things your body actually responds to. And they'll have to do something else. But this is key in autoimmune disease. We have more autoimmune disease now than ever because this kind of like muckiness has really been coalescing, and because we have more media now than ever. You have more access to someone else's story of the world now than ever in history. And so we don't realize, but all that time that we spend in connection with media and the people in our lives spend in connection with media, we're taking on those stories as truth and we're walking them out. And that has made a big effect on why we are actually seeing more illness when we have more access to the potentiality of change than also ever before. And so it's so important that we really truly find the path that lets us access and unwind. And we learn how to really let ourselves have this whole experience. And it's so key that we learn how to bring it into the totality of our physicalness. That it's not just about one system or one response, that it's about like this full human response. You want to really change autoimmune disease? Like, this is one of the things I know Rhonda had posted earlier, like her Hashimoto's diagnosis isn't there. I had another client whose antibodies went to almost nothing, and they were still eating wheat, and they were still eating dairy, and they were still eating sugar. But in the work that we did, the focus was about really coming in and unwinding and learning how to integrate, and then learning how that all integrates with what we actually do take as our actions, and having this whole template that's about them as the human and not like some arbitrary set of rules externally that says, well, this applies to you because. That it's actually about their human experience and the full embracing of all of it. That's how the healing happens. And that's why people will say to me, well, isn't there a book on this? No, there's not a book on this. Because it's totally you. It's like different for everybody. The subtleties actually matter a lot here. That's why I don't agree with AIP. That's why I don't agree with people who are like, every person with Hashis must do these 5 things, these 10 things. They must take these 14 supplements. I don't agree with any of that. Because every person with an autoimmune condition actually has a different subset, and all of these experiences in the background matter big time. And that takes time to connect to and unwind, and it takes a lot of support for most people. And it isn't like this homeopathic remedy is going to change this for you forever. No, that's not true. I've already been there. I use homeopathic drainage in my practice, but I don't ever assume like, oh, I'm going to give you these 3 drainage remedies and you're going to be all done. No. And that's the thing. That's again part of a story. And this is where understanding like, oh shit, I'm walking out this doctor's story, that it's always these things for everyone. Your path to healing might be 10 times faster than what that person believes. Because you're you, and I have no idea what your path is. And the components that actually click in your being are going to be different than the ones for somebody else. And that's the whole thing. And this is why I'm a big advocate. Like, I love when people want to learn how to heal themselves. I also know that we spend a lot of time swallowing supplements out of desperation, thinking like, oh my God, Dr. Axe said that this always does this, or Dave Asprey said that blah, blah, blah always does this, and no one can eat legumes, and everybody has to do this. And those statements are filled with flaw because it's their story, but it may not be yours. And it's time that we change this paradigm, because now what's so funny is, so I have a mastermind going on right now. We've been discussing the nature of time. And I will tell you, I actually don't believe that time is limited. I don't believe that we're up against the wall. But I do believe that in our being, these call to actions keep coming, and it's our being going, I really would love it if you'd partner with me and pay attention. And if you've been getting those signals for a long time, that's your being going, and the universe going, oh my God, I love you. You're so magnificent. Could we partner? Could we do this differently? Could we get in there? Could we create this space together? And if you've been asking for something, you know how this works in my life is that I pose a question, or like, oh, I'd really love to understand X, Y, or Z. And then invariably the tool or the person appears. And it's all if I'm ready to say yes. Am I like, did I really want it? Because I'll say yes. And then, but every time it appears. And so this is about us really walking into our experience. I can't stress this enough. Like, I feel like it's the kind of thing like we hear and we go like, okay, I get it, walk into my experience. And then there's a point where it clicks so deeply in your being, you're like, oh, whoa, that means something that I didn't cognitively get. And this for me is the essence of healing. We just talked about it in my group with the Women in Thriving Health. I think that was last week. I don't remember when it was, honestly. We had this conversation about that space where you first know and then suddenly you know. It's like and that's when your DNA just got activated. It went boom. I know this. Like, I physically, somatically know it. That's that thing that happens as we walk in conjunction, and we are able to like integrate. And it is a sweet spot, you guys, that is so freaking delicious because it can't be lost. That is not, I read it in a book and I think I understand it. That is like, oh, no. I activated language. my universal language is now activated, and I get it. And yeah, it's who I am. And that is actually that's how I work. When I guide women in healing, we go from that spot of, I'm going to teach you the how, and then the how is going to become some level of integration inside you where it is so inherently who you are that you are like, oh my God, like, I'm me and I get it. I'm me and I get it. And that's where healing doesn't go away. But the healing that's all mental, all people with Hashimoto's have to drink lemon water in the morning. It ends up being all mental, and it can't reach those places, and we don't get to be integrated. And I want to take healing out of the mental and into the somatic. I want everything we do to be able to root into this beautiful human body. Like, do you guys have any idea? Oh, our human. Oh my God, our human. You're magic incarnate, every single one of you. And that's, to me, the essence of why we go on a healing journey. Is like, I want to feel better, and I'd like to be my magic incarnate. And so autoimmune disease is just the demonstration of how societally we are actually separating from that. And the healing is the coming back. It's not the stuff. The stuff supports the return. That's how it will end up working. But it's not the stuff. It's the walk. It's the collusion. That's how those values change. Throughout my entire career, people's doctors have been like, what the did you do? What the fuck did you do? How are you so much better? What pill did you take? No. What foods did you eat? I mean, it was somewhat that, but no. Because it's not something that can be nailed down. Like, well, I definitely did these 4 steps and that's why it's all better. And this is what the world's asking us to do. This is the change happening on the planet. Truly, this is the change happening in our human self. It is this call to us being us for the full experience. in its totality, all the way. And let me tell you, it's better than you imagine. It truly is. But it's just everything that happens, all this chaos is an invitation. It's not because you're broken. It's not because you got a bad set of genes. It's not because your mom, had this sickness, your grandma had that sickness. There's nothing here to fix. You're whole right now. That language is active right now. It's just the journey of deepening the experience. Coming really comfortably into relationship with the totality of the experience. That's what it is. So I would love it if after today, at least, if you took nothing else away from this, you walk away knowing, I really am worthy now. I'm worthy because I'm a human and I'm here and I'm breathing. And I have the potentiality for anything I want. And I can write this story however I want it. And know that when you ask, the answer is always yes. The next things that appear in the path are honestly the way creation goes, okay, but you're gonna need some skills. So you asked for help, here's the help. You asked for learning, here's the way you get that learning. You asked for change, this is how you're gonna get change. And guess what? Some of them are gonna be hard. Because you wanna know something, like, you wanna hold this big next generation of you, you're gonna have to flex some muscle. And sometimes it's like, look, you're gonna have to walk into territory you've never been in. You better get some skills. Nobody goes out to hike Everest without having learned some skills. The ask that you may have in your health may be like your version of Everest. It's not a punishment that you have to stretch. It's actually the gift. Because you're asking for something so big and the universe is like, yeah, poof, that's awesome. Okay, let's do that. Like, that's woohoo. I'm so on board. But don't get caught up thinking like, well, then why didn't it arrive? What have you been being asked to do? What keeps appearing in your field of view? What offers keep appearing that you keep going, no, I can't do that. No, not that. Do something else. Go look at that. And look, because one of my mottos is I just say yes because it's not going to be a problem. So when I've been asking for change and the thing appears, I'm like, yes. And it's like, oh, but I don't know if it's going to work because this, and this. And I'm like, I know I got me and I'm saying yes. Because I've asked for the Everest climb. I've asked for something magnificently big. So I take the opportunity that comes that aligns with that because I actually know that that's the next iteration. It's like creation goes, okay, but I need you to be able to do this in order to do that. You got it. And that's where a lot of us stop. No, I meant I wanted it a different way. It's our yes. This is actually a big part of healing. I know a lot of women that are even here that have worked with me would tell you that there was a part of them that was like, run the other way. That might be hard. And they stuck to their yes. And along the way, the change happened, but often in ways that they couldn't have even predicted, because these experiences for us are so much bigger than our body. And the world of autoimmune keeps telling you it's a mystery and a confusion of your body. Your body is having that response because there's just a story that deals with a lot of chaos in the background. And it's a call to come home. and it can change. Don't let anyone tell you that these things are life sentences of misery. It's just simply not true. That's their story. Write a new one. I may be experiencing this now, but I'm determined to do all the skills and training needed to climb this mountain because I am. End of story, right? Because I am. If you want my help, send me a message, set up a call. It's all available for you. Yeah, Rhonda, today is a perfect day to start our new story. Exactly. If you could rewrite the story today, think about that. Carla's got the music coming in with Ain't No Mountain High Enough. We're all going to be going and listening to that song after this. Heck yes. Yes. Think about that for the rest of this weekend. Aw, Jen, I love you. You want her help. Yeah, you do. You do. You are so welcome, Perry. Write a new story, you guys. Fucking write a new story. Make it a novel. Like, write a new story. I want to read and see your stories. It's what I live for. It's time. Let's stop living out the story of a world that actually doesn't believe in our growth. Let's just stop. It's enough. We don't have to do that. I am not beholden to anyone else's story of life, and neither are you. Neither are you. You were born amazing and nothing has changed. I don't care what was there along the way. That language inside you, oh my God. It's all there. I love you. You're amazing. You're worthy. You're whole. There is nothing to fix here. It's time to write a story the way you want to write it. Have a beautiful day, all of you. I love you so much for being here. Thank you for sharing your time with me on this Saturday. It is so precious, and I recognize that, and I value it so much. Be well. Blessings, guys.